So, as it pertains to custody, what does the best interest of the child mean? It sometimes means whatever it is that we want it to mean. It's a very vague, subjective standard, and it's up to the judge or it's up to the parents, and it's supposed to be the standard that we use in most every aspect of a child custody case. Sometimes there's different standards, such as substantial impairment to a child in order to take certain rights away from parents. But the best interest of the child is, one parent has an idea of what that means. The other parent has a different idea of what that means. The kids may have a different idea of what all that means. And it's very, very subjective. And it takes a lot of different analysis of what the facts and circumstances are to change that standard and go, well, what's the healthy solution? Because if you're looking at, well, what's the best? Well, they're great, but I'm great. I'm just a little. So let's do this. Like, as opposed to like, look, if you're both good, just go come together and be healthy and have some peace, because y'all having peace together is probably what's actually in the best interest. Meaning that if that's the healthiest thing, I prefer to work on what's healthy. That's why I founded healthydivorce.com. And when we focus on that, that's what we get. So the best interest of the child can mean so many different things. Co-parenting strategies for business owners. What are my recommendations and what should you do? When you have a business owner, sometimes if they're working 120 hours a week, when do you have time for the kids? And sometimes you think that you're one thing, but the reality of it is a little bit different. And a lot of times, reality of something depends on the perspective that you're looking at. So when we look at things like who's going to have the kids when and how's that going to work, if we can build in flexibility, that's great. So most entrepreneurs are salespeople. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, most salespeople are kind of entrepreneurial. So I'm going to use this example. Salespeople, when they're going through a divorce, their sales start going, down, down, down. Why? Because they talk about the divorce all the time. They can't get past it. There's an aura about you, something about your energy, something about your spirit. People can see it on you, and you're kind of repulsive, and people don't want to buy from you. And so their business starts going down and tanking. As soon as the divorce is over, they start skyrocketing up because their mentality is better, and they have a renewed energy from it. So the more that you can healthily co-parent, and the better of a structured child custody deal that you put together, then the better your business is going to survive, the more profitable that it's going to be, and the pieces of your life are going to fit together better. Let's talk about fit. There's some really skilled people with chainsaws that I've seen, but most of the time, a chainsaw is not a real precise cut. Well, when you go into court and have a judge decide this for you, it's the fastest chainsaw rip, dirty through everything in your life. It's not going to be clean. And then you got to come out and like try and cobble this stuff together. As opposed to, if we come to an agreement, we can make precise, like, have you ever seen those stainless steel things when they, like one slides in the other and like you can't even see the seam? That's a healthy agreement equivalent. As opposed to if you go to court, it's the rip chainsaw. So co-parenting, being able to work with the other parent, it's critical. It helps you to raise good kids, because if you don't co-parent, what happens is this parent always disbelieves this parent and they can never agree and they have problems. You have to be able to co-parent as much as possible. If you can't, you can't. Some people it's impossible, because sometimes one of them definitely is the problem. But the better the co-parenting, the better the kids are that you're raising up. Very, very important. The more money that you have, more money, more problems. We get this done right, and you invest the money in the right attorney who's going to help you structure this correctly during the process, then that sets you up for success in the future. So what's the role of child psychologists and custody experts in a child custody battle? Hopefully nothing. Hopefully you don't need those people. If you do need those people, then we're dealing with problems, and their roles can be anywhere from heavenly to hellacious. It can be anywhere from a dream, oh, thank you so much, you were the greatest help, we really appreciate your work, to, oh my God, they ruined my life. It's a big variable that I prefer not to have to deal with. And one of the ways that we deal with that is if we set off, good start, we set off that we're going to focus and find something that's healthy, we're not going to need to have those professionals. We only have to have those professionals if this is going like badly, or one of them's mentally ill, one of them's a danger to the child, one of them has problems, alcohol, drugs, mental illness, physical abuse, which is horrible and hate to see it. We do see it, we deal with it. It's the tough part of the job for sure. It's not what we want to see, but hopefully we don't have to do those professionals. But those professionals can have anywhere from an advisory to almost a decisive role that they're going to testify, and sometimes the judges are going to follow what they decide. Other times they're not going to be able to even testify about what the best interest is, because in the Texas Family Code there are statutory provisions and certain things that you have to do in order to do a child custody evaluation. So sometimes you have people that are doing these full-blown child custody evaluations. They take, if you're going to have one of those, you're going to be probably more than a year for your divorce, because those take 10 or more months. They're always slow. There's not enough of those professionals to meet the demand that exists in the state of Texas. It's a difficult, thankless job. Somebody usually hates them. It can be a nightmare. Hopefully you don't have that, but if you do, we're here to deal with it. When we focus on what's healthy, that's the best solution. So you've already got a custody order and now you need it modified. How do you navigate that? We'll have to file a document in the court and begin what's called a suit affecting parent-child relationship, or SAPCR, SAPSR, suit affecting parent-child relationship, child custody case. We file that case and we either have a full and final trial over it, or we come to a negotiation about it. It's very similar to when you got the first original order in place or you got a divorce. It's reopening everything. Everything is back on the table. Sometimes if you try and modify just child support amount, then the other side's going to say, no, you know what? Not only should we not modify child support, you should be paying me child support because I'm the primary parent, and now I want to have an order that says that. And you basically kind of go back to war. A better solution when you have to do that is to try and negotiate something ahead of time before you even file anything in the court, and you get the agreement in writing and then just file that in the court without having to trigger the court process. You can trigger the court process, and there can be what's called a temporary order hearing right at the beginning, and then a final trial at the end, and then maybe multiple argument, different things that happen in between. It can be very, very complicated. And so you definitely want to talk to an attorney before you just decide and file something. And don't have an argument with the other side and threaten them with a lawsuit. Never threaten a lawsuit. Like, I'll see you in court. I'm going to sue you. Like, no, all you've done just there was be emotionally out of control and not have a good solution for how to deal with that problem. Don't ever do that. Don't use court as a threat. If you have to go to court, then we'll do it in a calm and rational way, and we'll file the appropriate paperwork. But you want to de-escalate that even ahead of time, and preferably you try and negotiate something without having to do it the hard way. So if you have to make a change to your existing custody order, come to softdivorce.com and we'd be happy to help you.